to understand what my talent is. If I've got a talent, say, of hospitality, say, are you the type of person who always reaches out to the new kid at school who's just arrived, you know, and they don't know anyone? And, you know, it's amazing, isn't it, how people will ignore a person? And it takes one person to go up and welcome that person. If you're that kind of person who welcomes and reaches out to someone who's new, then, for instance, you might have the gift of hospitality. And that's a gift that you might have. So how does God call you to use that particular gift? There are so many different gifts. So when you pray, to say, God, help me know what my gifts are. And help me to use those gifts to give glory to you, to give back. Because I don't own this gift. It's on loan. I'm the steward. I'm not the king. And help me to use this gift. So help me to maybe take an hour or two each week to use this gift to serve others. And help me to also give of the stuff that's in my pocket, not from the leftovers. And what happens when you begin to give, two things happen. You realize that, as Steve said, it's life-giving. When you start to give away, it's like, oh, that's actually fun. If you noticed on Christmas, I remember, I think I was about grade 10 or 11 when the experience of Christmas morning changed for me. Up until then, it was like, I couldn't wait to open my gifts. It was like, I really didn't care what anything else. It was just like, I wanted to see what I got. And by the time I was in high school, I was the oldest. I had a 5-year-old sister, and I've got a younger brother and a younger sister. And I actually began to enjoy more giving a gift to my family and watching them rather than receiving the gift. And that's kind of like what happens. And the last thing, and I'm going to finish with this, is that you learn to trust. You learn to trust. Steve said tonight, you know, in our family, there was no leftover time or money, so if you're going to give from what's left over, forget it. If you give off the top, it's an act of faith. Because you're going to say, Lord, I'm going to make this gift of time, and I'm going to trust you that with what's left over, I'll be able to do everything that needs to be done. Lord, I'm going to make this gift of money, and I'm going to trust that with what's left over, I can do everything that needs to be done. Now, I'm going to finish with telling you a story. About 6 months ago, a couple of things had happened, and I decided that I needed to give away that month an extra $50. So I gave someone $50. And the next day, I came into my office, and there was a card on my desk, and I opened it up, and there was $50 in it from someone in the parish. It's like, great, I'm going to chuckle at that. And the next day, I gave $50 to someone else. Oh, here's what happened. I had a wedding. A friend of mine was getting married, and I did his wedding, but I put a card, and I put the $50 that I had received the day before into the envelope and gave them a gift. And after the wedding reception party, they gave me a gift. They gave me a bottle of wine and a card, and I took it and put it in my car, and I didn't open it until Sunday morning, and there was a card inside it, and I opened it up, and guess what was in the card? No, $100. So at this point, I had given away $100 and received $150 back. This is Sunday morning before Mass. At 11 o'clock Mass, one of the guys in the parish came up to me and explained that he was going on a mission trip and he was looking to get some donations. So I gave him $100 that day. The next day I went into my office. Guess what happened? I'm not kidding you. An envelope with $100 in it. And I just had to laugh and say, Lord, and I really mean this. I have experienced it time and time and time again. When we're generous, God cannot be outdone in generosity, and it's such a thrill to experience it like that. The other side of it is when I've been stingy, when I've said, oh, well, you know, I had to pay that, I had to get new tires for my car, I had to do this, and I'm short of money, so I'm not gonna give as much to this. It's almost like everything dries up. And it's when I choose to give again. Oh, I can tell you one more story. True story, okay? This time last year, I went to the Holy Land, and I had the new iPhone, and but I didn't take seriously the warnings about international roaming for data. Anyone know about that stuff? You send an email, it costs you $40. Anyway, I was like 6 days over in Israel, and I got a text message from Roger saying, after 6 days, your total data bill is $593 for sending. I was watching this YouTube video and showing it to people because I had this cool iPhone. I was showing it to everyone. I did not realize, of course, that this was charging me all this money. Of course, that's like half a month's salary for me. Okay, I was sick. I was sick to my stomach. I mean, $600 to give to these bozos. I mean, at least I could have given it to the poor or something. If, you know, and I was mad at them. I said, if you could send me a text message after $600, you could have sent me one after $6. Because if I had known, anyway, so I came back and I was all bummed out about it. And I came back and I hadn't, this is the honest truth, I came back the next day and I hadn't put my envelopes into the parish in a long time, in a couple of months. So I sat down and I added them up, because I added them up and it came to like $450 or something. And then there's these second collection things for the poor. And I was really tempted to cut the amount in half because of the bill for this. And I decided not to. I decided to give the full amount. So I wrote a check for $600 to give to the church. And I was feeling like my bank account was like Zippo in it. That afternoon I was out for a jog at Point Pleasant Park, and I had called in to Rogers about this thing and complained. I'm out for a run, and the phone rings, and I answer it, and it goes, the music fades out, and the voice comes in. It was Rogers. They were wiping the bill clean. They were refunding me $600. Go figure, huh? True story, Scouts on it. See, God cannot be outdone in generosity. When we choose to give, God always gives back. It's incredible. And I've experienced that all the time. So I just invite you to it. I invite you to be generous, to first of all be grateful, and to know that everything you have is a gift from God. And when you're generous, it changes everything. It changes the people around you. It changes your friends. It changes your family. And it changes you. It changes you. Because you realize the joy of giving and that God can't be outdone in generosity. And that's, in a sense, what stewardship is all about. And you've been very generous to me by sitting listening to me for this long. So thank you and God bless.